Big warm welcome guys to another episode of our Shane. This video is brought to you by the Academy of Holistic Mediumship in working partnership with www.shanegad.com. So guys, over the last few months we've explored some real belters and corkers of questions that's opened up even more questions, and that's the nature of the journey. You know, we're forever learning, we're forever growing, we're forever experiencing, and we kind of look back over the last few months. What we've been looking at is many lives, many experiences, and that's the thing. We're forever unraveling the depths of who we are, and I absolutely love that. And this question that is coming only within the last week really kind of in a way fuses that together, and I think it's a question that so many people ask, and I'm going to kind of share Spirit's thoughts on that, the Annett's thoughts on that, and some of my own thoughts and feelings from my own experiences. So the wonderful question that's coming from a lady, Anett. So a lady wrote to me via one of her previous videos. It was the last one I'd done, which was on about is your approach to foraging spiritual. And Annett's gone on to say, hello dear Shane, really warm, lovely. Hello dear Shane, I am so glad to have found your channel. It's wonderful to have you here. It's wonderful to have all of you here. You know, I'm truly, touched, moved and honoured and really kind of humbled by the many messages I receive from all around the world, and I just absolutely love sharing what we share. So I have a question. Can you see what my spiritual journey is going to take? Can you see what my spiritual journey is going to take? I am working on opening myself up to the spirit world. Love, Anett. Just absolutely love that question. I think it's a question that we all ask, you know, those of us that find ourselves on a journey of development, on a journey of growth, on a journey of, spiritualities. We kind of always, ask, where is this going to take us? How's this going to unfold? What is it that I'm meant to be doing? And I can feel the Innate smile very warmly at us all, and kind of say, well, the core of all of this, the absolute essence of all of this, is to live a whole, fulfilled life, a life that has meaning and purpose. So it's about kind of discovering what really at the heart of you makes you really tick. If I go back, this is 27 years of walking a path that is forever unraveling, and those of you that are, have known me for some time, those of you that are very close to me, you'll know and see that that has really shifted in the last 2 to 3 years for me. And as I said in previous videos, what the Innate say to me is, Shane, what you've got is many lives merging within this life, and it's the best of you. And I think that's really playing out in the direction of my own path. And what I tend to try to always do is authentically, with rawness and kind of just openness, is share where I am and what is happening, because in a way I'm hoping at some level that may touch or resonate or inspire others at some level, or inspire others to do the same. And if I look back over those 27 years, when I first come into this path, if you like, there was a few strands that were merging together, and initially it was working with the runes and my experiences all those years ago up in the Scottish mountains, and those of you that would like to know a little bit more about that, if you check in the channel Odin's Gateway, you'll find a little bit of an insight into that. But it was runes. Then when coming back from Scotland, runes really took hold of me. I didn't really realise that while I was in Scotland that's what was taking hold of me. It wasn't until I was back I fully really appreciated the depth of that. And I've worked with them ever since, and I guess in the last few years, I've really had a deeper understanding with them, and you know, exploring them with some wonderful people close to me. You know, some of you may have seen the wonderful horn that I was gifted last winter solstice, last Yule. You know, they've really come to make even more sense. They've always made sense, but they've made a more richer or deeper sense. And you know, a wonderful rune tree that's been designed, you know, they just keep unraveling, and that's the thing, you know, your journey unravels. So it was initially runes that moved into tarot cards, and then kind of from the tarot cards, the mediumship and the holistic mediumship. But along the way, you know, a healing path presented itself, you know, and I you know, studied healing, studying hands-on healing. I studied Reiki, and then I was attuned, you know, Reiki 1, Reiki 2nd degree, then went on to Masters, and I taught some wonderful people, and I had some experiences where I was able to kind of go overseas at the time with my dad and some dear friends of ours at the time, and we was able to kind of, you know, reach people with the wonderful teaching of Reiki at the time. But you know, as time went on, I absolutely understood that that was not the path for me. Even though that I liked it, it was wonderful to kind of be connected with it, it was wonderful to be around it, it wasn't the path that was galvanizing, it wasn't the path that had the momentum, it wasn't the path that really kind of was at the heart of me, or the heart of the core of what was really kind of making me tick. And I think the combination between the very question that I kind of gave back to you was, what makes you tick? What really is the heart of you? What really is the core of who you are? Because once you kind of understand that, and you really kind of move towards that, then you'll start to really understand what is kind of your blueprint, you know, what is the ingredients to you, you know, are you a wholesome vegetable stew, or are you something else, you know, metaphorically speaking, and always weaving in those metaphors. But I think there's absolute truth to that. You know, once you understand what's at the heart of you, at the core of you, then you'll start to unravel your blueprint. And the thing is, if you at this point just pause for a moment, so let's just take a moment and let's pause for a moment. If you pause for a moment, you will see that I've not directly answered your question. I've answered it, but I haven't directly answered it. Okay, and that is again the innate wanting you to resonate, wanting you to tap into who you really are, and then begin to allow that to unravel. You know, the thing is with that is that spirit often, you know, they lead us, they nudge us, they support us, you know, and then we have a lot that goes on for our lives, and you know, we have a lot of challenges, you know, what spirit like to call manure for the soul. You know, there's challenges, manure for the soul, and you know, but they never kind of tell us, which is that whole thing of, we learn by being able to navigate the path ourselves with their nudges, support, guidance, influences, them just pointing us around the corner, so to speak. But when you really discover who you are, you then have the conviction. You know, I know that as I sit here today, holistic mediumship has been the absolute core of what my paths have been about, and the very work, tongue-tied, the very work that I do. So the very work that I do is always about them and I illuminating your path and illuminating who you are, helping you understand your challenges, and then illuminating them and transforming them. As Spirit always say, what drives the contact is to add value to your years. and that's at the heart of it, you know. And if you can look at that, that's a healing path. So, you know, healing comes in so many forms and different ways. And, you know, I have people say to me, you know, am I psychic? Am I a medium? Am I clairvoyant? Am I clairsentient? Am I clairaudient? And spirit just kind of put their hand on their head. And I mean that hugely respectfully. Now, it's important to understand how your senses are attuned and which ones of those senses are heightened. You know, is it that you hear, is it you feel, is it you see? That's absolutely important, but not to get lost in those titles, not to get lost in those rigid approaches. You know, they literally do, I can sense them putting their hand on their head. You know, let all that go and just discover how it works for you without getting lost in the rigid details of the rigid approach, you know. And opening yourself up to spirit, I absolutely love that. And, you know, allow your heart and your knowing to be your barometer. You know, allow your heart and your knowing to be your barometer. You know, the first place to probably understand is sorry about that, trying to get comfortable. Understand who is it that's working around you. You know, some of you will know my thoughts around spirit guides, but it is, which is very, very relevant to this video in so many ways, is who are you, what makes you tick. Who are you, what are you about? A conversation I had with a guide once, many of you know, but it's to understand who's there around, working around you, who's there around you, you know. And the thing you can do in that is just sit there quietly and just ask yourself, who is it that's teaching me, who is it that's guiding me? And just feel for those answers, you know. Is it that you hear it, is it you see it, is it that you know it, you know, is it male or female, what's their personality, what are their traits, you know. And then you can start to explore, you know. If I look, you know, my whole of my journey is always about kind of becoming really comfortable with who you are, no matter what. You know, I've had to learn to walk again. I've, you know, had those challenges that have just knocked you off your feet, and then it's the resilience of standing back up again. You know, at the heart of it is making the impossible possible, and at the heart of it is a simple, wholesome life, as spirits say. You know, it's about adding value to your years. And I think that when we start to really discover who we are, it's like where I find myself now is really kind of stripping away what isn't real, you know. And I think that going back to the beginning of this year, when I stood there on New Year's Day and I opened up that front door and I said, blow out the old, blow in the new, blow out the false, blow in the true, you know, the momentum of that intention, if you like, you know, is just stripped away what isn't real in my life in a very profound way, and showing me what's really real. You know, only last week, you know, Spirit said to me, you know, you've grown so much, and you've grown so much around you, you've grown so much in other people's lives, you know, now it's time for you to grow a garden. And here we are, you know, we've got you know, about 18 months roundabout of real kind of close guidance and teaching from my dad on how to grow food, and, you know, working with him every week for the time that I have and the time that I will continue going forwards for a very long time to come. And now I've got this opportunity to, you know, apply it and, you know, work with it in a very, very practical way, you know. But, you know, them saying to me, you know, now it's time for you to grow a garden, you know, and you just know that, you just feel that. And, you know, a few days later that opportunity appeared, you know. It's just incredible. I think the biggest part of it is to enjoy the journey. The biggest part of it is to identify who you are. So I identify what's really, really important to me. It is wholesome, simple living that has heart, that has connection. You know, you know, only last night, you know, a dear friend was telling me about here in the UK we have a show called Britain's Got Talent, and the winner was a really old guy in his 80s or 90s, 90s I think it was, who was he was singing war songs and stories, and there he was as a Chelsea pensioner, and he had won the whole show, and that just kind of, you know, gives me a sense, you know, things are really shifting, that what is kind of has real heart and real rawness and real kind of story is becoming so relevant in the world, because we're all calling what is really real and what has heart into the world. Lots of thoughts, lots of feelings, lots to kind of stir up there. I hope that is of helpful use to all of you that have listened, and I hope that's helped you, Annette. And as always, guys, keep sharing your questions. Until next week, have a brilliant, wonderful week. It's just started to rain here. We do need the rain, but I also need to get out of it. Until next week, keep shining. Take care, guys. Bye bye.